many of the people and many of the programs in USAID have literally betrayed America. My colleagues to my left will say that I'm lying about these programs, and I know they damn well wish that I was lying. The programs that USAID and the State Department have spent money on are indefensible. They hurt America standing around the globe, and I think the fact is clear that America would have been better off if your money had been simply thrown into a fireplace. Let me give a warning to my colleagues. It will be short-sighted of you if you turn a blind eye to USAID's betrayal and, more broadly, the betrayal within the State Department. Because we are going to bring in the people who put these programs in place.
We don't have anyone here today from the administration to explain, to appear, and to explain their actions before this committee. It shouldn't be just private sector individuals here. We are the oversight of the U.S. government, and we should have members from the State Department, the Secretary of State, Rubio, present. And my Democratic colleagues and I have asked the chairman to have a committee hearing with Secretary Rubio, and I urge that to be done as soon as possible. The American people deserve to have their elected representatives question the administration about the decision to shut down a government agency established in law by Congress. We don't have a king. We have a system. If the administration believes what they have done is legal and merited, they should be before Congress. They should be here. They should be talking to the American people directly. We should be summoning them here.
The Biden administration spent it imposing their far left-wing ideology onto other nations. Under them, USAID spent $2 million for sex change surgeries in Guatemala, $22 million to increase tourism in Tunisia and Egypt. That's not life-saving. $520 million to pay consultants to teach people in Africa about climate change. That's not medicine. $4.5 million to teach people in Kazakhstan how to fight back against internet trolls. That's not life-saving. $20,000 to help LGBT individuals vote in Honduran elections. That's not medicine. $5.5 million to improve the lives of LGBT individuals in Uganda. $14 million to identify LGBT leaders in Cambodia. $425,000 to train Indonesian coffee companies on how to be more gender-friendly. $15 million for condoms to the Taliban. And I have pages and pages more. That's not diplomacy. It's a slap in the face to every American who got up this morning and went to work. To this moment, you haven't seen or heard any of my colleagues apologizing for this being wrong or wasteful. Instead, for the left, their biggest concern is that the person assembling a team to make sure that these programs are not funded is a billionaire named Elon Musk. So out of touch that they actually believe these programs are bringing other countries closer to us, or that our adversaries are going to gain some kind of foothold if we don't continue doing these programs. That's not what competing looks like for the United States of America. On the contrary, last month, when I participated in a Q&A with my colleague here to the left in the United States Institute of Peace, which will have to explain their funding, the Ugandan ambassador stood up and said these programs were not doing anything to improve relations between our nations. Take a look at the video. Maybe we'll get some audio on it. Maybe we won't get audio on it. Or a 19-year-old, Mr. Burchett. Thank you. Maybe we won't do this video. But I have the video that shows exactly what the Ugandan ambassador was saying. And they were thanking us for not continuing these programs.
I want to welcome our witnesses to our first full committee hearing this Congress. But I would be remiss if I didn't make clear my disappointment in the midst of the chaos created by the Trump administration's unlawful attempt to shutter USAID and pause foreign assistance funds. We don't have anyone here today from the administration to explain, to appear, and to explain their actions before this committee. It shouldn't be just private sector individuals here. If you really care about waste, fraud, and abuse, you don't illegally fire 21 independent inspector generals in the dark of night. You don't fire the head of the government ethics office. Just this week, President Trump fired USAID's independent inspector general, just one day after he issued a report showing that the administration's own effort to dismantle USAID is wasting taxpayer dollars and putting our national security at risk. That's what's happening. Our national security is at risk. And I'm asking unanimous consent to enter that IG report into the record. This committee and the American people deserve to hear from the IG. I would urge you to invite the Inspector General to appear before this committee to tell us about the actual work of addressing waste, fraud, and abuse, if that's what this is really about. Now, many Republicans, this has not been a partisan issue. Many Republicans have long championed U.S. foreign assistance as critical to our national security, as a source of United States soft power, and a key tool to outcompete China's growing global influence. Despite my disappointment over not having Trump's administration panelists here, I am pleased that among our witnesses today, we have a number of individuals who are Republicans. I look at my former colleague, Ted Yoho, who I have traveled with on several times, several CODELs, and we visited USAID programs. I know when you go and travel and see firsthand the work of dedicated USAID Foreign Service officers, civil servants, and local staff to whom we owe our gratitude and our thanks, not the dishonor shown to them by wealthy billionaires with a social media platform. Now, I only have a few minutes left, so I won't spend my time debunking every mischaracterization or outright lie we've heard from the Republican distractors of USAID. These are distractions meant to obscure the critical work USAID does. I instead submit into the record the stories by the Washington Post, the New York Times, fact-checking and dubious claims made by the Republicans.
Do you have them?
Yes.
So ordered.
And what I will use my time on is making clear that this hearing title, the USAID betrayal, is absolutely correct, because this is a betrayal. The Trump administration is betraying our national security. It is betraying our allies. It is betraying the Americans who carry out USAID's mission in some of the world's most challenging and dangerous places. It is betraying the generosity of the American people, and it is betraying the investments Americans have made for decades to stop diseases before they spread, to make sure girls have the same educational opportunities as boys, and to make sure that the innocent victims ravaged by war or natural disaster have basic human necessities. It's betraying babies who have been born with HIV in the last 3 weeks who could have been born HIV-free if only we continued to provide their mothers with the necessary medication they were sitting on the shelves. It's betrayed America's victory in nearly wiping out polio around the world by stopping the funding to stamp it out in the last 2 countries on earth with the virus still present. Want to know what happens when we stop funding this type of work? Just look at Kansas, where the outbreak of tuberculosis right now grows. So it's not just about health programs. Economic development programs in Latin America build stronger communities and help reduce migration to the United States. Good governance, independent media, civil society programs in developing countries help break debt traps from China and ensure citizens can enjoy their God-given rights. Bottom line, who wins when we pull back from one of America's greatest strengths? China wins. Russia wins. Our adversaries win. So yes, this is a betrayal. This is a betrayal of our national security. And I yield back the balance of my time.